That old man ain't Gandalf. That old man is nobody's friend. Welcome to Voice of the Fat Mantis, as we discuss the possibilities of who the Meteor Man from Amazon's Rings of Power are. In order to do that, we're going to have to make as educated a guess as possible. On YouTube and various other articles, I see people wildly guessing as to who the Meteor Man is. And it doesn't seem to be very often educated guesses. And so in order to do this, we need to dive deep into the lore of Tolkien and the world, particularly the creation of the universe. Some light topic. Before we go any further, I would love it if you liked, shared, and subscribed to Voice of the Fat Mantis. Before we go any further, I want to apologize for all the mispronunciations I'm about to do. I've learned all this information from reading it in books and stuff. I haven't heard Tolkien scholars utter these words, so I'm probably going to be off on a lot of these words, and I'm sorry for my limited reading abilities. So it all starts at the beginning of the universe. Yes, to understand the Meteor Man, we need to understand the creation of the universe. And the universe was created by the one singular God, similar to Christianity, is in Ilúvatar, who he created a race of spirits, primordial spirits, who were a choir of singers. They sang and created music so beautiful, it willed the material plane into existence. Yeah, I'm not kidding. That's actually the lore of it. And so amongst these creatures known as the ainur, there are two types of primordial spirit that exists. The first one being the Valar, and you've probably heard their name tossed around. The men of Numenor talk about how the Valar is the one who gave them this island. For being good and fighting in the War of the Wrath, the Valar, basically, they kind of serve like pagan gods, gave them this island. And they also gave the elves Valinor, which is the land of the elves that is mystically separated from the rest of the planet. And so they served as pagan gods to this world. They appear as humans when they present themselves to people, but they have various aspects, such as that of the ocean or the skies or darkness or light, such as in Greek mythology or Norse mythology. They formed a pantheon of gods, and amongst them was the most evil of them all. Or should I say, originally he wasn't evil, he was the most powerful, but he fell to the darkness. He became corrupted by darkness. His name was Malcor, and when he changed sides, he renamed himself Morgoth, and he is the person that all these evildoers serve. His corruption spread to everyone who he touched. This included corrupting a certain group of elves into orcs, corrupting a certain group of spirits into the Balrogs, and actually corrupting Sauron into the high priest of evil that we know today. Now, the second category of spirits, the minor spirits, they're almost like minor gods, but they're probably closer to Christianity's angels. They come and they help humanity. They don't have as much powerful as the Valar, and they are called the maiar. And when they represent themselves down on the physical plane, they appear to be wizards. They present themselves as male, older men with supernatural abilities. It connects directly to the idea of Meteor Man. Meteor Man apparently is a maiar. He is very similar to Saruman, Gandalf, the Red Wizard, and the Blue Wizards. He too is like them. Now, a lot of people argue that maybe he's one of them.
Wizards like Gandalf, Saruman, Radagast, Alatar, and Palando didn't arrive in Middle-earth until the year 1000 in the Third Age.
If this is supposedly Gandalf, it would violate general canon, and I don't mean like obscure canon, I mean very clear canon. So there is another possibility of who he is. Sauron was a maiar. When he lands in his meteor explosion, it actually looks like the Eye of Sauron in the pile of flames that he is in. And so it's clear that I'm pointing this who is the Meteor Man in the direction of Sauron. I think people want to fight against this just to create either unique theories for articles and YouTube videos. But another thing is they think it might be too easy. It might be too obvious. And I think they don't care how obvious it is. I think they're trying to pull on our heartstrings. Now, I think the biggest thing that makes me believe this man is internally, naturally evil is his connection to ice and cold forms. In the very first episode, when Galadriel and her commandos go to Sauron's old hideout up in the Arctic, they have a flame that doesn't seem to burn things, and they don't understand why. And Galadriel says, it is the evil in this place. It is so evil, it will not allow fire to burn. Later on, when we see Meteor Man crashing near Nori Brandyfoot, when she falls into the pit of flames that looks like Sauron's eye, she actually says, the fire, it does not burn me. Indicating that whatever's in there is so evil, it's warping the flame's ability to burn. Later on, in episode 5, when he's trying to cure his wound on his arm, he puts it into the water and it's freezing the water. And when Nori touches it, it freezes her hand. His body is giving off the very same cold that Sauron's Arctic evil base, and once again, they've already established that this was created from the forces of evil, this cold, out of his heart. So a lot of people are wondering, why is it that he's acting in good faith? That he has lost his memory. And I believe that it's very possible that these clerics in white, the group of women who look like Eminem, I believe that they're going to do something to remind him who he is. While he hangs out with the simplistic nature of the proto-hobbits known as the Harfoots, their kindness is wearing off on him. He's just like, oh wow, these people are nice, I'll be nice to them too. But I think his nature is that of evil. I think that he has darkness in his heart. There hasn't been an excuse to unleash it. You gotta stir the wasp's nest before they come after you. He is at least evil, if not Sauron himself. In the original Fellowship of the Rings, it is said that he never created rings for the hobbits because he didn't know about hobbits. Now, what's interesting is that the show's creators decided to call these creatures that he's hanging out with Harfoots. And instead of ruling over the land of the Shires, which you'd think he'd want to control, they migrate back and forth. They're nomadic, and they don't have lands, per se. If he had spent time with them, these Harfoot creatures that had no land, it would make sense that later on, when he made the rings, he had no reason to try to dominate them or control these people. It also makes it even more ironic that he underestimated these creatures he used to live with, thinking they're weak and pathetic, that later on, in the next age, he is defeated by not one, but two of them. Bested by Bilbo and later on Frodo. An interesting rival theory as to Meteor Man being Sauron is the idea not that he's someone else, but that it is possible that he is one part of Sauron and that multiple characters will be Sauron. Possibly in almost like their gestalt, joining forces to become a supreme powerful being. Perhaps that's how he was able to elude the powers of the elves and other people from hunting him down. I've heard worse plots before. Another rival theory suggests that maybe Halbrand is our Sauron character in disguise. Now, one of the problems I have with this one is, although I believe Halbrand, when we discover what his great sin is, that he believes it should make him unworthy of being a king, the thing that I tend to gravitate to is that if he was Sauron, he's more likely to lie to people and pretend that he is a Boy Scout than admit that has some sort of dark sin and that we wouldn't. His quote was, "You don't know the things I've done." And I don't believe Sauron would ever confront someone like that, would ever offer that information up, because he would be the Lord of Deceit, being the High Priest and super entity known as a Maiar of Morgoth. But the real question is, who do you think the Meteor Man is? Please let me know down in the comments. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and keep tuning into Voice of the Fat Mantis so we can keep doing deep dives into the lore of Middle-earth and Arda. By the way, that's the name of the planet. I didn't want to hit you off with too much vocabulary. It is, it's like you got to study nowadays to enjoy any fandom. But anyway, until next time, ciao. For now.
Don't simply walk into Mordor. Its black gates are guarded by more than just orcs. There is evil there that does not sleep. And the great eye is ever watchful. It is a barren wasteland.